Hi there, it's me, Reade.
Hi, I'm Jennifer. Welcome. We're glad you're here for listening practice with us.
Yes. We are in Psalm 119, in case you're not keeping track. I can't remember. We're actually at Psalm 119, 161 to 168, that section, which is F, the letter F.
The letter F from We Love Your Invitations.
Yes.
A psalm paraphrase that I created over the last few years as we read the Psalms regularly. And there was a creative writing practice that a pathway I went down to paraphrase this psalm. Partly it was because this is one of the psalms that I didn't really like. It's one of the ones I had trouble with because of the word law.
It's very prominent in most translations. Yeah.
So we're grateful that you are here with us to be part of the listening practice. We've been away from this a long time.
Seemingly, yes.
Tell me about listening practices. Why do we do this?
It's a habit, and we haven't been in the habit recently.
Been out of
in this habit anyway.
Of this part, recording part.
Yes. How we do it, our habit has been to read through a portion of scripture from the Psalms and then to reflect on it. We read through it twice. The first time we read through it, we're listening for a word or a phrase, something in there, or even maybe something that just comes to our mind while we're reading it, that comes to mind anyway, and we accept that as God speaking to us. Then we read through it a second time, but that time we're listening for an invitation of some kind. God is calling you to something rather than just bringing something to mind. It's an action, calling you to some kind of action.
And we go through this process, both of listening to scripture, of paying attention to what we notice, and being in the conversation with one another, and we hope also with you, in order to be able to hear God's voice in our lives.
Right.
It's part of our spiritual formation. So here we go for our first reading through. We have our notebook and a pen. You might want something to make note of what you notice. And we'll just read through, and this time pay attention for a word or phrase that stands out to you. I'll read first this time.
Please.
Family faith, alive and active in this home, fills us with amazement and keeps us steady, even when those with power push back against your life in us. Full of deep joy, deeper than the waves of circumstances, we are treasure hunters who find a cave of gold in your instructions. Falsehoods about your nature, God, about your invitations, our relationships, ourselves, make our bodies tremble with anger. Your truth, your love revealed is life. From early morning until late in the evening, we thank you for revealing yourself. You share your kindness, and we eat from it all day long. Fantastic peace, beyond our understanding, fills our bellies. We tell the stories of your goodness, of your everyday miracles. First steps, first babbles have led to walking and talking in your way, divine family. Your love bathed us in the womb, and you have guided us step by step to this very day. Finding the treasure you placed in our core gives tone and texture to our way of being in the world. Familiar with your voice, it's easy to tell what is true to your character. We open ourselves up to your attention through community, prayer, and dialogue.
What struck me was in the first section where it says, we are treasure hunters who find a cave of gold in your instructions. That stuck out to me, the idea of treasure. I know you mentioned law before and talking about that being sort of off-putting. And this is a different way of thinking about it. But in the same way, other translations would say looking for or seeking for truth, and you put it as treasure hunters. And I like that. That's interesting. Treasure hunter, the treasure that comes from God.
Mm. That's quite an evocative image. Thank you. It's so interesting to reread something that I wrote at a different time, and we've taken a break from reading this particular version for a few months here. It's so interesting to go back and see what catches my attention. And that image of being bathed by God's love in the womb, and that God's love and presence has guided me step by step to this very day. That's what stands out to me today. I know I have often worked with people who've had experiences of being in the womb or in their small childhood days of not feeling very loved or attached in healthy ways to the grown-ups who were part of their life. I have my own trauma wounds that still need to be healed. I think I was loved even from the womb. Let me clarify that for my dear mother's sake. And I know that we all need that experience of being bathed in the womb of God, where the love is full and fresh and real, and nourishes us even in our grown-up adult states. That's what strikes me today.
Is that all?
That's all. Do you want more? I got lots.
Well, I'll read it again. And this time we're listening for an invitation. So if you can focus your mind in that direction. From Psalm 161 to 168, F. The letter F. Family faith, alive and active in this home, fills us with amazement and keeps us steady, even when those with power push back against your life in us. Full of deep joy, deeper than the waves of circumstances, we are treasure hunters who find a cave of gold in your instructions. Falsehoods about your nature, your invitations, our relationships, ourselves, make our bodies tremble with anger. Your truth, your love revealed, is life. From early morning until late in the evening, we thank you for revealing yourself. You share your kindness, and we eat from it all day long. Fantastic peace beyond our understanding fills our bellies. We tell the stories of your goodness, of your everyday miracles. First steps, first babbles have led to walking and talking in your way, Divine Family. Your love bathed us in the womb, and you have guided us step by step to this very day. Finding the treasure you placed in our core gives tone and texture to our way of being in the world. Familiar with your voice, it is easy to tell what is true to your character. We open ourselves up to your attention through community, prayer, and dialogue.
Thank you for reading. The invitation that stands out to me today is to do with food and nourishment, not spiritual food and nourishment, but we've just, Reade and I were just out of the house to go to the library. And while we were at the library today, I picked up some cookbooks, and I chose a cookbook off the shelf that I thought, oh, this would be very interesting. And I got it up to the self-checkout, and they said, you can't check this out. You got to talk to the people at the desk. And so I went and talked to the people at the desk, and they said, well, see this black line through the barcode? This book is taken out of circulation. So if you want to read this book, you will have to pay to buy it and take it home.
How much?
Like, 50 cents. And I had 5 dimes in my wallet. I hardly ever have cash in my wallet. And so I was very happy to say, yes, please let me pay you these 5 dimes and take the book home. And as I paged through it, there's so many inviting photographs and so many things that are like, oh, this would be fun to cook. Making plans, there's excitement and vision for the future. And so these images of God giving us fantastic peace to fill our bellies so that we can be nurtured with the stories of God's kindness in our lives. That there's a connection there for me today. And I'm curious to see what I will write and paint and tell as the stories of God's goodness, like perhaps like a cookbook of the stories of God's kindness in my life. What do you hear as an invitation?
Talked about the treasures before, being a treasure hunter, and the way you find treasure, at least in my experience, is in reading and prayer. And that's the last line there. And we open ourselves up to your attention through community prayer and dialogue. And those are ways of finding that treasure that God calls us to find, I guess. And to me, it was like, oh yes, an invitation to prayer. Something that I never feel that I'm any good at. But even that being said, talking to other people that have prayed pretty much their whole life and were pretty serious prayers have often said the exact same thing, saying, wow,
like rank amateurs.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. If I had another few hundred years, maybe I think I'd feel better about my prayers and being a prayer. So for me, that prayer and dialogue and community, I guess, are all things connected in finding treasure. So that was the invitation to continue that process of prayer, continue praying, even if I feel like an amateur or terrible or not as focused as I could be, to not give up, to continue the prayer, because that's where the treasure is to be found. If I want to be a treasure hunter, to find the cave of gold of God's instructions, I need to pray.
To be in the conversation.
Yeah, that was the invitation for me.
I wonder what you notice, both as a word or a phrase, or maybe an image from the first reading, and what do you notice as an invitation in the second reading? Would you please take the time to send us a message and let us know what you notice? Because it's really in the conversation that we can hear and affirm what God's speaking to us. It's really in the conversation that we are able to find the language that will help us to be in the prayer dialogue with God. I'm so glad that you've been with us today. I hope that you'll join us again. And if you don't have your own copy yet of We Love Your Invitations, we'd invite you to check out your local Amazon extension and purchase it there. I'll put the information in the link for you.
We'll see you again.
Thanks. Grace and peace to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.